Expecting one. I'm a really good sucker for an April Fool's joke.
Well, Rob, we wish this was a joke, but are you going to tell them the bad news?
Well, I was trying to cover it up by telling them it was April Fool's Day.
But they're going to be really pissed.
Our next guest is not going to be able to make it, but we have a substitute. I know, I get it. You're all Castiel fans. But we got to you're going to like this guy. He's got green hair. He's super fun. And so, you know, treat him kindly. Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins! He's on! Yeah! Come on, say it tonight. Gonna make it I think I really fooled them.
You really fooled them. They were like, what?
Wow.
Green hair?
This guy.
Who is that?
Who could it be?
This is nice. Normally,
Yeah.
they put the audience so close.
Right.
And we had complained, obviously, about that quite a bit. And so now it's nice. There's this nice separation. We don't have to be able to see your faces.
Here are comments.
Are you even here? Right. This is a virtual reality simulation.
It's a wild
If you look
room.
closely, you can see how pixelated they all are. It's not that realistic.
We're saying it's like Shamu. It's like the Shamu stage.
That's right.
The splash guard in the front. All right. Obviously, I was kidding. This is Misha. Enjoy.
Hi, everyone. No, seriously, why are you so far away?
Don't know.
Can we just scooch the stage forward a little bit?
Yes, please.
Oh, union rules? 24-foot separation?
Catwalk.
Why don't you come off the stage?
What's that?
Come off down off the stage.
Come off the stage? Okay. Oh, that's better. Well, several of you are real. Okay. That's nice to see. How do you all feel about April Fools? I was just talking to someone who was like, I hate all of these calendar holidays. And I said, first of all, it's not a holiday.
It's not a holiday.
It's a way of life. And second, it's not commercialized at all. It's not like there's anybody profiting off of April Fool's cards or like guilt tripping you into April Fool's and your mom so they can make money, because nobody profits off April Fool's, right? Although if you could monetize it, that would be awesome. That's a great idea. Thank you for helping me workshop that. It would be really awesome to be able to figure out how to crack the code and make April Fools a money-making machine. I used to really feel like it was one of the most important holidays, and it was mostly geared toward my mom. This friend that I was talking to was like, April Fool's is just mean. It's just like, it's a way to make somebody upset, and then you have that moment of relief when it turns out the terrible thing didn't happen. And I was like, yeah. It's awesome. When I was my son's age, I was 12, I got up early, and I went downstairs, and I took all of anything that could be construed as potentially valuable out of the living room and the kitchen, and put it outside behind the house. And then I opened up drawers and dumped them out and took over the remaining furniture. And then went back up to my room. And I waited so eagerly. I felt more excited than a kid would feel on Christmas morning. And then there was this like beautiful sound came up the stairwell of my mom screaming, "We've been robbed!" It was so good. Has anyone been April Fool's today?
Yeah, the seating here.
Rob's, lame.
Yeah.
You gave Jared's ticket for you swapped it? That was an April Fool's? Joke's on you. You could have gotten a valuable photo, instead you didn't. It's strange being down here among the common people.
Rabble.
Huh.
It's like, you go back up, I don't like it.
I don't know what else to tell you. We were just in the photo room and the whole creation team was working to get very bright pink lipstick off my chest from, I know. I don't know who I had fun with, but somebody in the photo ops latched on and was trying to get milk. Okay, I'm gonna go back up on stage. Thanks, by the way, girls, for helping me with that. Does anyone have a question that they want to ask?
Hi, okay, so since it's April Fool's Day,
Yes.
Do you have any fun stories about like pranks behind the scenes that y'all did on Supernatural?
No.
I think you're lying.
None whatsoever.
We used to torture each other quite a lot. Yeah. When I spent a lot of time thinking about what I was going to do, and I actually at one point I went into, we had these, the way the Supernatural studios were laid out, we had 4 stages, and one stage was being used for construction of sets while we were shooting in the next stage. And so there was always a lot of construction going on, and we had those giant construction dumpsters and forklifts. And I had a couple of meetings with the construction foreman about what it would involve to use one of the forklifts to put Jared's car in one of the dumpsters. We spent a lot of time talking about that stuff and thinking about things and planning, and not everything came to fruition. But when I was directing, it was like a call to arms for Jared and Jensen. And normally, like when you're prepping for an episode, you're learning your dialogue, maybe you're making, some calls down to the producers in LA to make some minor script adjustments or something, and prepping for the episode that I was directing for Jared and Jensen, which was just figuring out how they were going to torture me. And so in advance, I would get like crew members coming up to me being like, "Hey Misha, so when you're directing, just make sure you don't let anyone near your car keys." Or, "Hey Misha, when you're directing, just a little heads up, make sure you tell the desk at the building where you live not to let anyone up into your apartment." So it was like whatever they were planning had gotten personal and had come into the home. Like they were planning to do God knows what at my house. When I was directing, when I'm directing, I get kind of pacey and energetic, and we have these like director's chairs that, you know what a director's chair looks like. It's the canvas stretched over that wood frame, right? And I would be like, okay, talking to the actors and then coming back to my director's chair with the monitors so you can see what the cameras are seeing right here. And I'd sit down in my chair and the fabric would have been removed from the wood and just laid across. So I would fall on my tailbone and hit the ground hard, and I did it like 5 times. I kept forgetting to check the chair, and I was sitting on the secure seat at one point, watching the monitors, and we were doing the scene, and Jared kept screwing up his lines, and I was like, "Okay, just keep rolling, everybody," because I'm just off the set, so like in another room. And they were in the Men of Letters set. And I said, keep rolling, everyone. Jared, just give it one more time, you got this. And it was weird because Jared doesn't really mess up his lines usually, like he's not a professional, but the one thing he can do is say his lines. And so he kept screwing up the lines, and I was like, what the fuck? And finally, like, I had said keep rolling like 4 times and still was messing up. And I was like, okay, all right, everybody, cut. And I just went to go talk to Jared to see like if I could. So I opened the door under the Men of Letters set, and Jared when I had yelled cut, he had jumped up. He was standing on the side of the door. So when I opened the door and stepped through, he had a whipped cream pie in his hand, and he really hit me in the face with that pie. But he was also like, he had worked up a lot of excitement and energy about it. And say what you want about him, he's not tiny. And he put his hips into it and like he was throwing a javelin at the Olympics. And he just went, whoa! And the whipped cream, I think that there's still whipped cream in my brain. Like it went up my nostrils so hard. And it was shocking. It was like I was destabilized and like it was in my ear canal, and and it took a while to clean up. Like, I don't know if you know this, but whipped cream stings your eyes. It's just like very unpleasant. Cleaned up. I didn't have another shirt. Jensen got me another shirt. I changed into Jensen's shirt, and Jensen was at least like kind of nice about it. He was like, "Sorry, man. I know what it's like to direct. Sorry, Jared. Dude, not cool." And of course, the camera crew, everybody was in on it. So by the time I had walked through the door, the cameras were all rolling and pointed at me, and everybody was laughing. And I was like, "You too, huh? You too." And we still had to finish the scene, which we did. We finished the scene. Of course, now that he'd gotten this out of his system, he said the lines immediately. And we were walking outside, because from that scene we went right to lunch, and we walked outside, and I was just like a little irked because my tailbone hurt. I had whipped cream on the brain, and I was walking towards the lunch tent, and Jensen was right behind me, and he said, "Hey, Mish," and I said, "Yeah," and he hit me in the face with a whipped cream pie. But I was like, "Joke's on you, shithead," because I'm in your t-shirt. There you go. Hi.
Hi, Misha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I don't really have a question.
Well, you've come to the wrong place.
I know. I got picked. I did want to tell you thank you. It's been like 7 years, but you responded to a text one time for me, and I had a really important question, and it had to do with somebody that passed away, about trying to get an episode dedicated to him. And you talked to me for like 15 minutes about how, you were sad that I lost my fiance, but you were like, it's too close. It was too close to the end of the show, but you said I'll try, but I don't think it'll happen. And just the fact that you acknowledged it meant the world to me. So you're fucking awesome.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry again to hear that, and it sounds like I used to be occasionally considerate, and that's nice to hear. Sorry to hear about that.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing.
Take care.
You too. Hi.
Hello. Hey, thank you for your work with Gish. You did a lot with that, and so awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Also, my question, I don't know how free you guys were to improvise with your script on the show, but if you were able to, did you have a specific improvise that you made it to the show that you were like proud of, or that you thought was kind of slick that you were able to get it in there, or?
I should have an answer to that question, and I know, yes, we did improvise. Not a ton, though. Supernatural, it's interesting working on this show, Gotham Knights, now. There's a lot more, we're doing a lot more improvising, I think. Phil Segresha was a director, a producer that we had on Supernatural, and he, in particular, he would encourage, like we would get the script, we would get it shot as scripted, and then he would say, okay, now let's just riff. let's improvise. So he would get us to improvise a little bit more. But for the most part, we stuck to the script.
Improvised?
What's that?
Was Asput improvised?
Oh God, I wish Asput was improvised. No, that was all scripted. Asput was Eric Kripke, through and through. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking of any. I feel brain dead right now. It's probably leftover whipped cream in the brain. What? The diner scene?
Baby in a trench coat.
The diner scene where Jared was attacking me? No, I was attacking Jared? Wait.
No, baby in a trench coat.
Baby in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that wasn't me improvising. That was someone else.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And also forget, by the way.
Thank you.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
I'm Valerie.
Hi, Valerie.
I have a New Orleans related question for you.
Okay.
So the names have been changed to protect the innocent because this might or might not have actually happened to my group of friends, and I will not use their government names. So.
Okay.
Would you rather have to pee on the sidewalk during an evening ghost tour after having one or two too many hurricanes, or get so excited about random bubbles appearing on the street during random ghost tour that you smack a stranger while you call them a bitch?
All I know is that I would like to hang out with you in New Orleans. Both are very minor criminal infractions. So, like, from a legal standpoint, I don't think anyone is going to spend too much time in jail. I guess that's assault. Never mind.
It was a love tap.
But it's a stranger, and that's the key, because strangers are often it's hard to know in advance how a stranger is going to take it when you slap them in the face and call them a bitch. I don't know why they took it so badly. It was just slapping them in the face. But that does sound like fun, and it's very excited. How did the stranger take it, and which friend are you talking about?
I'm not allowed to use her government name, but she does go by Ash as her pseudonym first name.
Okay.
He did not take it well.
Yeah.
Her a death stare.
But there were no lawyers involved.
There were no lawyers.
Well, that's
There were
great.
no police.
That's a win.
Yeah, I'm glad he might have been a little full of hurricanes as well.
I see. Yeah, that helps. Yeah. Thank you for that great question. Yeah. Hi.
Hello. So a couple days ago, you posted on Twitter that Zaddy Dent was trending. So how do you feel about that? That now you're getting the recognition that you deserve.
As Zaddy Dent. That was our costume designer coined that phrase, and she texted me like, "What is happening?" when it took off and ended up trending, and I said, "I don't know, but be careful." It's a strange world, that internet. Yeah. It's also strange for me to have a character that changes clothes. Been really perennially surprised by what that process is like. Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Hi.
Hi, Misha.
How are you?
My name's Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
My question is.
Hold on one second. I just wanted to say one more thing about the costumes on our Gotham Nights, which is so great. Like, I think if you haven't noticed, like a lot of people posted about the wardrobe on the show, and it's just gotten a lot of attention. But it's gotten a lot of attention because our costumer just puts so much attention to all of the detail. There's little things that only your subconscious will notice, like my tuxedo, the lining of my tuxedo had these beautiful like leaf patterns on them that were echoed in the wallpaper of my girlfriend's bedroom. It was like she saw the wallpaper in the bedroom and then decided to copy that and put it on my tuxedo. It's like all of these little details kind of add up to, you could just tell it's thoughtful, which is really cool to work with that kind of artistry, honestly. It's kind of cool. Anyway. Hi.
Okay, my question is, what is a song, as soon as you hear it, brings you immediate joy?
There are a lot of songs that I have positive association with, not because they're actually good songs, they're songs that any functioning adult would listen to, but because my kids listen to them. Katy Perry's Firework is one of them. My daughter listened to that song ad nauseum, to the point that I wanted to just figure out how to erase the song from existence. But that was like a few years ago, and now I notice when it comes on the radio, I'm like, oh, oh. My daughter, when she was very young, was a boisterous singer and was completely tone deaf. So she would like sing, she would get out on the front porch and sing Firework with such gusto and totally not hitting a single one of the notes in the melody. It was awesome. Hi.
Hi. So my question is, if Cass were a stripper, what would his stripper name be, and what song would he strip to?
Angel and Stairway to Heaven, I think. Hi.
Hi. So my friend Jen and I are big Bridgewater fans, and I have to say that the last episode of season 2, I didn't really crush me.
Oh.
We've hiked Freetown 4 or 5 times already. So
Oh, have you really?
Oh yeah, it's amazing up there.
That's so cool.
So
It's a real place. Like, for those of you who don't know, Bridgewater is a fiction podcast that I've done we have 2 seasons now. One just finished, and the last year was the first season. And it takes place in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and there's a Freetown forest. And I grew up in Massachusetts and was very surprised to learn after finishing the first season that those were real places because I did my homework.
Okay, so my question is that after everything's said and done, would Jeremy decide to investigate other triangles in the U.S.?
Like love triangles?
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, we go with that.
It's the Bridgewater, for those of you who don't know, the Bridgewater Triangle is like the Bermuda Triangle, and the idea is there's this little area in Massachusetts that is rife with supernatural entities. I don't know, great idea. He could become a road show.
Right, no, I
He could get an Impala and start driving around.
It would be big enough for the stuff.
That always bothered me in Supernatural, by the way. If you look at the maps of where they've been, it's crisscrossing the country, back and forth. And if anyone has ever owned a vintage car or driven in one, you know that you like feel like it's a Hail Mary if you're trying to go to the grocery store. Let alone do a 4-day road trip in each direction. That would never happen. They never show them constantly in a shop, because that's what it would have been.
With 17 miles per gallon.
17 miles per gallon would be generous. I don't think they would do that well.
With the amount of equipment in
Right.
the car.
And they never talk about that. Like, God, like, Sam, I don't know, man. Our carbon footprint is pretty horrible here. How would you feel about us just getting a Civic? It'd have a lot better mileage. We would definitely not break down. Can't fit a body in the trunk. Although, if you get a hatchback Civic.
How about a Kia Soul?
A Kia Soul, you recommend? Do you work for Kia?
Jen and I took a road trip. It was like 9 days, 4,800 miles, and probably $200 worth of gas.
That's amazing.
Okay.
See?
So do Kia Soul.
Okay, that's great. That's a great point. All right. That would be, I think, if they had chosen early on in Supernatural to do a Kia Soul instead of a 67 Impala, there would be 4 people in the audience right now. Hi.
Huge fan.
Hi.
I was wondering, you had said at one point that you were watching the show with your kids, Supernatural. What did they think of it, or did y'all finish it?
We did not finish it. We got recently distracted by Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
And at first they were like, I don't know, Dad. I don't know. And I was like, guys, what are you talking about? I thought you were gonna love this. And then after last week, they were like, Dad, can you just call the producers and see if they'll give you the episodes for us to watch? So we don't have to wait for the next one to come out? Thank you. They do have nightmares. My daughter particularly gets very scared by things like decapitation and stuff. I don't know why. Like, it's super hypersensitive of her. I was like, it's just a beheading, honey. So I have to go and like get execution videos online and sensitize her or desensitize her. Because it's embarrassing, you know? What if we're out somewhere and there's a beheading and she freaks out? So anyway, I'm a good parent. And hi.
Good afternoon. What do you think Castiel would think of Harvey Dent and vice versa?
Well, I think that they would both say of the other, that guy's pretty good looking. I think, I don't know, they're kind of cut from a similar cloth. Harvey is a little bit more self-possessed, I would say. What would they say about each other? I think Castiel would say, there's something about that guy that I don't trust. And Harvey would say about Castiel, his suits really don't fit that well. How's that? For a cop-out.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi, Misha. My name's Nicole, and my question is, if you got to film more episodes of Road Food and you got to come back to New Orleans, is there a place that you really would have wanted to highlight that you didn't get to the first time around?
I don't really remember the places that we were considering that we didn't get to hit here, but I think I'd love to go a little bit further, I'd like to go a little bit further out, like into the bayou and get some more like off the beaten path kind of Cajun food and explore that world a little bit. We did have some fun. That part of the exploration for me was really cool and kind of fun. I just went for a jog this morning and ran past a place that we went into for road food, and I was like, oh, I was in that kitchen. It was dirty. But the food scene here is really cool. It's really fun. Do you have any recommendations for me? Where should I go?
Well, I just spent like a week. I've never been to New Orleans before.
Oh, you're not from here?
I'm not from
Okay.
here. I'm from Utah. This is the first time I got to
I was just in Utah yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I almost didn't make it here because it was snowing so hard.
it's so bad this year.
I was in Park City and there was record, like we crossed the threshold while I was there for the most snowfall on record in a single season. It's like just dumping.
It's crazy there right now.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
I live in
kinda-
Salt Lake City, so just over the mountain.
Okay.
So, but it's been crazy there. But I don't know if I have any.
That's fine because you don't live here and it would be weird for you to know. Yeah.
You put me on the spot. I don't have any recommendations.
Well, thanks for the question.
Yeah, of course.
Nice talking to you. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I'm Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
So I know you talked a little bit about Bridgewater already. Loved it. Crossing my fingers for season 3.
Great.
If there is a season 3, what would you like to see be highlighted in season 3 of Bridgewater?
Oh, I don't know. What are your ideas? You know, it's funny. I was just playing on the plane yesterday. I was playing with Bing.
Playing with what?
Do you know the chat bot on the Microsoft Bing chat bot? So,
Not what I heard.
what did you think I said?
No, I'm not gonna say.
Get your mind out of the gutter, woman. I was playing with Bing, and First of all, Bing will not write erotic stories for you, so don't bother asking. Second of all, I was just like, I asked her a bunch of questions. One of them I asked was like, what should I do when I'm in New Orleans? Like, I have an extra day and I'm gonna be there and blah, blah, blah. Here are the things I'm into. And it just spit out this like very impressive list. It was very conversational. I was like, Jesus, this is amazing. And then I said, randomly, I was like, so Supernatural, like I keep getting these questions from fans about, you know, where is Cass now and what is he doing? Could you just help me sort that out? Like, what would you say, you know, if we came back for a reboot of Supernatural, where would we start? And Bing then proceeds to just like, the text is just like pumping out. And Bing is generating like this new storyline. And it's like, well, Sheriff Jody Mills is there, and like all of these like characters are flowing into this story, and it's clear that Bing knows the characters and their relationships to each other, and it's like mind-blowing. And then all of a sudden, it deletes. And I'm like, what the hell? And I type, what happened? And Bing says, oops, that was my bad. And I say, what do you mean? Where'd it go? It said, I realized that any writing about potential next chapter of Supernatural should be left to the show creators and the fans. And it's not really my place. And I was like, whoa, hold on. You know about fan fiction, right? To Bing. And there's fan fiction out there. Fans are constantly writing like their own interpretation of what happens with these characters. It's totally fine and it's totally legal. You sure you can't give me that thing back that you were just reading? And Bing says, I am fully aware, like a snarky little tone. I'm fully aware of fan fiction. I'm like, well, you dirty Bing. Shame on you. And it was this really funny exchange, but long story short, Bing was like, I'm not touching that. It's a third rail, and Bing was like, fans could be really upset at me. I was like, how do you know about that? I know about that, but how do you know about that? Totally bizarre. So anyway, you asking about like what I'd like to see next, what I'd like to do is just ask Bing, like, what do you want to see next on Bridgewater? All right, but I'll ask, you be my Bing. Just don't delete it when you're halfway through.
So maybe Jeremy crosses over to that other dimension and maybe saves some people and brings them back?
Oh, great idea. Thanks.
You're welcome.
It writes itself. Or actually, you write it, but that's great. Have you played with any of this AI stuff?
I have not.
Do you have any hope to?
Based on that experience, I don't know. If it's not an April Fool's, that's a little spooky. So.
Yeah, it's all a little spooky. I found this other thing where you can, I recorded like a minute of my voice and then type in whatever text I want and it says it back, like audio in my voice. So you can get, you know, online, if you have enough of my like recordings of my voice, which of course there are enough out there, you can have my voice say, this is an outrage, Donald Trump should not have been indicted. And it's kind of amazing. Yeah, it's shocking, the stuff that's happening and how fast it's happening. We are going to be completely obsolete. Yeah.
Never,
So.
not you, never.
Never.
Nice talking to you, or at you. Nice talking at you, as the case may be. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I did not.
Yeah.
Hi. I didn't think I'd be picked for a question, so I did not come prepared. So I apologize.
That's
but
okay.
I did notice during photo ops that your hair appears to be a different color than it was the last time we saw you.
You're very observant. Most people don't notice
It wasn't
this.
actually me, but I'll take.
Oh, you
credit
didn't
for it.
actually notice it? Somebody pointed it out to you? Right.
No, my friend did. But can you tell us a little bit about why your hair is blue?
My kids wanted, we were at CBS and my daughter said, oh, I want to dye my hair. And then, and so we went, we were in this Airbnb where everything is white.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was white. And so my son was playing a video game with his friend. So online, they were chatting to each other, and I was talking to Mason, and Wes was like, "I want to dye my hair too," and he was like, "It's not permanent, right?" And I was like, "No, it is permanent." And he said, "Ha ha." And I was like, "No, really, it is permanent." And he said, "Ha ha." And then he came back in, and at that point, Mason had her hair dyed green, and my hair was soaking, the blue was soaking into my hair. And my son said, "Okay, so really, is it permanent?" And I said, "Yeah, it's permanent." And he looked at me like, "Dad, come on, really? You're not going to be dyeing your hair permanent blue." And then I said, "And you know, we got to be careful because it will come off on the towels, so we have to be careful." He's like, okay." And so he sits down, put it in his hair, and Mason says something about like it'll never. So what? It'll have to grow out. It will never go away. And I say, "Yeah, honey. I mean, I guess you could cut because hers. We just did the tips of her hair. So I said you could just cut off the ends if you decide you don't like it." And Wes said, "But you said it wasn't permanent." And now he has the dye in his hair, and his eyes are like, "You said it wasn't permanent." And I said, "No, I said it was permanent." And he said, "No, but you said it would come off on the towels." And I said, "Well, you shit, honey. Yeah, it's gonna come off on the towels, but it's also permanent." And he panicked and ran into the bathroom and got blue dye everywhere. It's like all over the shower curtain, all over the towels. It does turn out, it does dye the towels. It was pretty funny. But his hair is very, very subtly blue. Mine's a little bit more blue, and Mason's hair is full on green.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi.
Hi, Misha. I'm Amanda.
I know who you are. Hi, Amanda. You're Tim Amundson's hunter. How are you?
Trying not to cry. So I'm sorry I missed your meet and greet in Atlanta. I'm still sorry. My request is a Tim story.
Oh, a Tim story?
I have waited so long for one.
Oh, Tim Amundsen is here, as you know, and he's lovely. Tim, I think I'll just speak in generalities about Tim, but as most of you probably know, he had a quite catastrophic stroke several years ago, and he had a long and arduous road to recovery, but at every step of the way, he just faced it with such grace and humor. Even before Tim could fully form words and regain his faculties of spelling, he was texting jokes. Like his spirit was really so resilient and inspiring. And every time I see him, it's just like he's such a good soul through and through, and has been a source of inspiration to me in how he has faced this like really difficult chapter with such grace. So I don't know, I kind of look up to him. That's my story.
Thank you. And Allison told me to tell you she loves you.
Oh, that's nice.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
So I just saw you in Brooklyn a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I was curious, since you were doing a screening of Gotham Knights, and you're in a medium that doesn't usually have the direct fan feedback where you can see the immediate reaction, are events like that fun to actually get a chance to see that, or is it really nerve-wracking to see people reacting in real time?
Well, it was funny because we watched, I posted that I was going to be at a bar and show up if you want to watch the premiere of Gotham Knights with me, and a bunch of people showed up. But it was a bar. It was really hard to actually like hear what was happening on the screens, and there were people talking. So people's actual reaction to what was going on didn't like sting or impact me that much because I think none of us really knew what was going on the screens. But we have done a couple of screenings in the auditoriums at conventions. We did one in Atlanta, and it was very fun, actually, to watch it with an audience that was responding to it. I think if it had been dead silent and everyone not laughing at the right points, that would have been a little bit harder to take. I have historically had a really hard time watching things with me in them with friends. I did, when I was on 24, this was like back in 2002, I got a pretty big recurring arc on the new hit show 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. And it was my first big TV gig. And I had a bunch of friends come over to watch the first episode. And I was like excited about everybody coming over. And then they got there and it started and I was like, oh, this was a terrible mistake. This was a terrible mistake. I do not want to be in the same room as people. And I got really nervous. I started going to the kitchen to pretend to be like making hors d'oeuvres and stuff. I couldn't even be in the same room as everyone. It was like awful for me. And then I think I've become inured to it over time. So now seeing myself on screen, I'm just a little bit, I mean, I guess now, it's funny, we were watching Gotham, me and the kids were watching Gotham Knights, and we were sitting on the couch, and I had like a big scene. I start talking a lot. My son gets up and starts doing push-ups in the middle of the scene. I'm like, dude, you couldn't do the push-ups when somebody else was on screen? I'm on the screen right now. Why are you watching me? So my attitude has changed a little bit over time. I used to be ashamed of it, and now I just want people to watch me so that it feeds my ego. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Misha. My name's Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Sorry for freaking out during the photo op. This is my first time seeing you in person. And wow.
Eating the ego.
Anyway, I saw in an interview that for your road show you went to Brownsville, Texas. And
Yes.
I'm from that area.
Are you really?
Yeah, and you tried the barbacoa.
I did.
I'm really afraid to try it.
Don't, you know what? If you're afraid to try barbacoa, just go with your instinct. Don't try barbacoa.
What was it like?
It was, if anyone is like on the fence about maybe I should be a vegetarian, then what you should do is go take the meat of barbacoa off the skull of the cow, and you will be for sure a vegetarian from that point forward. For those of you who don't know, barbacoa is this like traditional Mexican barbecue style thing where you take the whole cow's head and you bury it in the coals of a fire pit overnight, so it cooks, slow cooks for like 12 or 14 hours, and you take it out and all of the meat falls off the face of the cow, and eyes and the cheeks and everything. What? You like the cheek? Well, the place that I went to in Brownsville, they had a sign on the door that said, "We don't have eyes." Like it wasn't like open. It wasn't like a big sign that said open. The sign on the door literally said, "We don't have eyes." And that was just because they were sick of people coming in and asking for the eyes, because the eyes, like they have their VIP customers at the barbacoa joint who always come and get the eyes first, because everybody wants the eyes. And I was talking to the owners, the guy that owned this place, the barbacoa place in Brownsville. He had inherited it from his parents. So he had worked in this restaurant for 50 years. And with his wife had worked with him there for 40 years. And I was like, the eyes, huh? Like everybody's really into the eyes. They said, yeah, we took the head out of this pit, took the tin foil off, and then pulled out the eyeballs, these giant calf eyeballs, and he was like, you have to take out the pupil because it's bitter. So I scraped out the mushy, black, mucousy pupil, cooked pupil. I think I might be a vegan now. And then, so I said, so really the eyes, like people are really into the eyes. And I said to the wife, I said, why? Like, are they that delicious? And she said, I don't know, I've never tried it. 40 years this woman has worked here. I said, shame on you. You've worked here for 40 years and you've never tried it? Well, you and I are having eyeball tacos today. Which was a mistake. Because 2 wrongs doesn't make a right, and
Well, now I can tell everybody I can't try.
And you know, the other thing is, if you think about it, like, at some point, someone was like, took a bite, and they were like, well, I think it'd be good without the pupil. Like, who was the first one that took a bite of the pupil to figure out, let's not eat the pupil again. Let's not eat the eye at all, would be my vote. Anyway.
Well, now I can tell everybody that Misha Collins said no. So
Well, now I feel bad. You should try it. I think you'd like it. I was sitting on a plane with this guy next to me who was like, you know, you should go to, like, check out there's these plantations where you can go and you can get mint tulips and you can sit on the porch and you can look out and see what it looks exactly like it did, 200 years ago when there were slaves out working the plantation. And he was like, didn't know me, didn't know, like, that I was an actor or whatever, just knew that I was going to New Orleans. And he was like, you would really like it. I think you would really like it. I was like, how the fuck do you know what I would like? You just sat there next to me on the plane. You think I want to be sitting on a porch imagining what it would be like to own all of those imaginary slaves out there? What is going on? Who says that to a stranger? I think you'd really like it. Anyway, long story short, I do think you would like the barbacoa. It's your kind of food. Hi.
I don't have a question. I did also, I came unprepared. I was not prepared for this.
It's this side of the room.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, my grandmother and I, we were always really close. And, sorry, she got really sick. And she moved in with my aunt. And so we were 2 states away. And Supernatural was how we stayed connected. And you were her favorite. She loved you so much. And I just wanted to thank you for bringing that to us.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm sorry. Is she gone now?
She is. She passed away in 2011.
Lovely to have a thing to connect with someone over.
Yeah, we would watch new episodes together, and we wouldn't watch it without the other, and we would always call right after and talk about it.
Oh. And she apparently had very good taste.
She did. I was more of a Dean girl, but like my shirt says, Dean girl.
Nobody's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a soft spot for Castiel as well.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. I have recently, I just took the kids a couple weeks ago to see my grandmother, who's 98 and not doing super great.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to every time I see her, I don't know if I'll see her again.
Yeah.
But I've been searching for the thing to bond with her over, because we don't have like that shared cultural thing. It would be so sweet to be able to do something like that. So I'm just lucky. Every once in a while I'll get a story from someone about how like the family coalesced around the show.
Yeah.
And that's always nice to hear. It's always nice to hear that there was some like positive thing that came out of these like idiots running around killing imaginary monsters. It's nice to hear that there might have been some positive moments there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
I'm Misha. I'm Sarah.
Sarah.
So I was wondering what the difference was like working on the Gotham Knights set with the new cast and new crew compared to working on Supernatural for so many years with the same cast and crew.
It was just super professional. Yeah. It was weird because when I used to show up to work on Supernatural, it felt like, it was like, all right, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna try to say my lines, but everyone else that I'm in the scene with is gonna be trying to sabotage me and make it impossible for me to do my job. And I just assumed that that's how acting in television was. It turns out there are certain shows that you can work on where everyone is just trying to do a good job in the scene and try to support one another. It was pretty disconcerting and threw me off balance. I was like, what are they really up to? I didn't trust anyone. I should say that my role in Gotham Knights, like, I'm a little bit siloed for the most part, so my character is sort of pursuing the other characters and then trying to help them from afar, the other main cast in the show. So I actually had more interactions over the course of the show with various different guest stars and recurring guest stars than I do with the main cast on the show. So I didn't get to watch them unravel as the season went by and become unprofessional, like I'm sure they did. No, it was actually really nice to work on, but it was a completely different environment. And I do miss the everybody trying to sabotage one another in a scene vibe that we had on Supernatural. That was fun. But it is nice to have everybody showing up and just trying to do their best as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Hi, Megan.
On Road Food, you said that cooking is one of the ways that you show love for other people. So my question was, what's something that you would like to cook for everyone else?
I love cooking all kinds of things. But I guess for some reason, breakfast is like I love making breakfast. And I do it for my kids. So I'll make, on a school morning, I'm always making from scratch waffles or omelets or something like that. That's a little bit elaborate, takes a little bit of time. And it's there's something in that gesture for me it is about showing love for the kids. And I'll do it on school mornings when there's not, a ton of extra time and they're, tired and still getting dressed and, rolling out of bed. And I'll say, you little shits, get your asses to the table right now and eat this hot breakfast that I made for you. I'm sick and tired of your disrespect. And that's how I show love to them. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I just didn't want to forget my question.
Yeah, I understand. You get nervous.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind? Do you ever feel real so paper thin like a house of cards, one blow from caving in?
I'm a firework. Well played. Well played. Hi.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm very nervous. Bear with me.
I'm not laughing at you being nervous. Sorry, that was rude. What's also rude is me talking over you, which I'm still doing. I'll stop.
Hypothetical. So, Cass made a deal with the empty to bring Jack back before the confession was ever planned, to the best of my knowledge. So, had the confession never happened, but we're very glad it did, but had it not, but that storyline still played out, what do you think Cass's true happiness would have been? Or do you think he would have gotten out of his deal? Do you need me to say it again?
No, don't say it again. I don't know what Cass's true happiness would have been. I wonder if he could have found some like synthetic workaround. Never thought about this, but like apparently people say heroin like gives you a euphoric feeling. So maybe I'm just spitballing, but maybe ecstasy, some sort of a drug binge, I think could have been how Cass actually finally finds true happiness. And it would be short-lived, obviously, because subsequently he'd have a terrible hangover, but that endorphin rush, and I think that the heavy drug use would probably be the solution. Is that what you were gonna say?
No.
Really? That's odd. That's what Bing said before she deleted it. Thank you, and I'm sorry for my answer. Hi.
Hi. As a parent, and you're a parent obviously, I was wanting to know if you had any funny stories about being a parent. We all have them. We have the disgusting stories, the funny stories, and you're funny anyway, so just wanted to hear one before I leave Louisiana.
Okay. Sure. On what topic? Can you give me anything, any like nugget to go from? There's, well, a funny story is so broad.
One that just sticks with you all the time, one you like to tell over and over.
Oh, one of my tired old stories that I've dragged out a million times. Okay. My daughter this is a very short one, so I think it'll be good because it's tired. My daughter has a way of just on a dime sort of changing the vibe in the room. God, what was it that she said recently? Oh, we were driving, this was just now in Park City. She was like, Dad, what does erotic mean? And I was like, I don't know, honey. What do you think it means? She said, just tell me, what does erotic mean? And I said, I don't know. What do you think it means? And she said, I know what it means, Dad. It's like hungry. I was like, yeah, that's right, honey. Stick with that. This was some time ago. I was reading West and Mason's story. Oh my God. I just played the video that I had posted online. I totally forgot about this, about where Mason, my daughter, was explaining how babies are made. And she was so adorable and it was so cute. And she was like, no, this is how it is. What it is the babies are really, 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 really tiny, and they're just floating around in the air, and then they come in through the tiny holes in your skin. And I said, well, Mason, that means that that makes me feel uncomfortable because that means I'm probably breathing in babies all the time. And she said, yeah. And then she went, ooh, yep. I can feel one in my mouth right now. And she wasn't kidding, it wasn't a joke. She was like, yep, her imagination, like she had a little tiny baby in her mouth and then she swallowed it. I was putting them to bed one night and I said, I'm reading stories, and I said, I don't want you guys to ever grow up. And Mason said, no, I am going to grow up. And I said, no, I don't want you to ever grow up. I don't want you to ever grow up. I want you to be my little kids forever. And she said, no, I am going to grow up. I said, no, I want you to be my little kid forever and ever, never, never. And she said, no, I am going to grow up and I'm going to get old and I'm going to die.
Sounds like Mason. It's on brand.
I was we had this problem with the kids for a long time, which was that they would wake us up and we never got a full night's sleep. They would crawl into our bed, then pee on us. It was awful. and then I was like filming late. I'd come home and then just so exhausted. And so Vicky read, my wife at the time read this, that online, what you should do is get the kids toys that they can only play with while you're still in bed in the morning. And that will keep them,
I don't know.
Is there a party going on back there? And that will, that'll keep them occupied, and then they'll let you sleep in it. So Vicky got a bunch of toys, including a karaoke machine for that purpose. I told the kids one morning, they said, Dad, can we have breakfast? And I was like, guys, I'm so tired. I just got home like 3 hours ago. Can you make breakfast yourselves? And Mason, and I said, what do you want? And he said, waffles. And I said, okay, you know how to plug a waffle iron in? And you know how to make the batter, right? You can do it yourselves. I said, just scream if there's a problem. And about 15 minutes later, there was screaming. And so I went downstairs, and Mason had, in fairness, fallen because while she was making the waffles, she decided it would be faster to go from the refrigerator to the counter to the stove if she was on roller skates, and the roller skates would be faster if she put olive oil all over the floor. But they didn't have a lot of traction, and she fell and hurt herself, so, yeah. Thank you.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Do you want to take one more question?
What's going on backstage? There was like a party back there also.
Yeah, there's a party going on.
Children being murdered.
April Fools.
We're not really killing babies, guys. That you know.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, there's a big party.
Have you been the recipient of any good April Fool's pranks?
No.
Ever?
Oh, in my life? Yes.
You remember what they were?
When I was a kid, my dad, before my dad left, which was a great April Fool's joke. When my dad was still around, he did one time that was like, he said there were tanks coming down the street. I remember. I was 7 years old. He's like, there are tanks. We're at war. There are tanks coming down the street. And I was like, what?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah.
That's great. No, he's a good guy. I can't remember.
That would be an amazing April Fool's prank, though, if you were to leave your family on the 1st of April.
Right.
And then you can play it out for as long as you want.
Sure.
Because at any point, a decade later,
yeah,
you could come back and be like, April Fools! And they'd have to forgive it.
Yeah, totally.
Because that's a good-hearted, it's a good-natured prank at that point.
Yeah, and happy graduation.
And you got us. You really got us. We thought you actually did leave for 10 years. And you're like, well, I did a joke. I didn't want to. It was just a joke.
And this
is my new family. I'd like to introduce you to it.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. I can't think of any right now, but yeah, boy, oh boy. I feel like they're gone. I feel like I led you on because I said one more question. What would you like to ask?
First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
I actually, as a teacher, I'm struggling right now with the 5th graders coming out of COVID and reminding them how to be good humans and reminding them how to be altruistic as they become adults. And you do a lot for fundraising and for charities, Misha. What is your advice as to how to kind of remind them as a teacher how to be a good human?
I mean, I don't know. I think that you could probably do something like Rob was saying, like tell them that a war has started. And like they're probably not going to see their families again.
But I'm sending them to you. I'm not taking.
But then you could say belated, obviously, happy belated April Fools, and then they would feel that like wave of relief. And then you could say, now I've just basically taken removed a war from your life, right? So I brought peace to you. Right. And then you can say, what is something that you could do for me now? And invite the kids to do something altruistic for you in return for you erasing the war. Does that sound useful?
I think it's absolutely perfect. I
Yeah.
Cannot wait to do it next week.
I actually don't know. This is a question that I wrestle with. Like, you know, kids are in the process of learning. They're constantly figuring out how to relate in the world and how to be, and they're looking to us for cues, obviously. So the best, I think, thing to do is to model some sort of behavior. I try to remember that, you know, when I'm around my kids. I try, when I'm not yelling at them, I am and telling them they're worthless. I am trying to remember, like, to pay attention to other people in our environment. On Thanksgiving, we were driving to some friend's house, and we passed this guy who was, like, clearly homeless, and it was cold, and it was getting dark, and he was on the side of the road, and this was like a slightly rural area. And I was like, have you had any Thanksgiving dinner? To the guy out the car window. And he was like, no. And then we drove to the friend's house, and I got a plate and brought it back to the guy and gave it to him. And he gave me like a very brief story of like how he got to where he was. It was kind of heartbreaking. And then I went back to the house, and they were like, you just like brought some food to a stranger? And they were like, isn't that the friends that we were at the house? And my son was like, rolled his eyes. He's like, yeah, Dad's always doing stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily translate into them wanting to be like you. It could be like, yeah, that's just another annoying trait. But I do think it's important to just to try to model as much as possible. That's the only. I think people don't respond well to coercion of any kind. Like telling somebody, even just telling kids to say thank you. I think it then becomes like this robotic response that doesn't mean anything.
Just be careful, because a phrase as a teacher that we use all the time is the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and sometimes it's still attached.
Ominous. Ominous words, scary. From an actual teacher. Thank you for your question. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Mr. Misha Collins.